Hey, this is Trainer Gary. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're at the prop shop in Warren, Michigan. I want you to meet Gene. Okay, Gene, what are you going to sell me today?
This one, a Turbo Timber Evolution.
And this comes with or without the floats, you think?
I think it comes with it.
Okay, and it has safe?
Has safe? Yep, right there.
That sounds good. All right, let's double bag this and we'll take it out to the field, build it. Let's rush. I'm going to buy it first, then build it. No, I got that backwards. I'm going to buy it, build it, fly it.
And fly it, yep.
Okay, Gene. Buy it, build it, fly it. E-flite Turbo Timber Evolution, 1.5 meter. And we're going to fly this with wheels on a asphalt runway. They want to go out to a local lake and fly it with floats. So let's get to it. All right, we're back in the train room. This is my workbench set up in the train room. We're going to put this airplane together. This is the 5th video I've done about model airplanes as far as building is concerned. I have several about the annual meets at the Flying Pilgrims RC Club. I'll leave links in the description to all those videos. But this is being the 5th of what I call the Buy It, Build It, and Fly It series. The first one was a Consendio. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's a glider. It's an electric glider. It has a motor, takes it up. You can glide it around or bring it back down. Next one is a Cirrus, and that is an SR22T Cirrus. Next one is a E-flite Cessna 150T, and the 4th one in the series is Fly It Carbon Z Cub with the 84-inch wingspan. Of course, this is one we're going to do today, and this happens to be the exact name is Turbo Timber Evolution 1.5 meters, and 1.5 meters in inches is 59 inches, or roughly 4 foot 11 inches. It's a good sized airplane, 59 inches. So let's get the thing unboxed and let's take a look at it. All right, we got everything out of the box. I'm going to go through the manual, but let's take a quick look at what I've got on the table here. Here's the 2 elevator sections, the 2 wing sections, the propeller. These are the supports for the wings. This is carbon fiber. This one here is the supports for the elevator. These are going on the front of the wing. These are the wing slats. They go on the front leading edge of the wing. And of course, the main landing gear, a bag of parts, the fuselage, and then of course the 2 wing halves. Now over here I noticed that the rudder is tilted to one side. That's how it came out of the box. And I noticed that the rudder on the floats is also turned off to one side. So hopefully we'll get everything put together, put the radio going, then I'll go back to neutral. For some reason the packaging it was set off like that. Of course, here behind me, here's the floats still in their packaging, and over here is the supports for the float. So I'm going to keep that all together. So we're going to go out to the field. We're going to fly it off the runway first. Now, when I was a kid, we used to have to build everything out of balsa wood and tissue paper and dope it up. And when I was a kid, I probably spent more time doing RC airplanes than I ever did with my American Flyer trends. We just loved being outside. And I lived about a block from a place called Phoenix Park in Medford, Michigan. That park is still there. I'm sure kids don't fly airplanes no more, but man, any day of the week I could hear from my house and I'd go running down there and see who was flying. But back then we flew them on either steel cables, I think they were like 50 feet, or on strings, like the old 49 made by Cox. They were on strings, and the bigger things like Carl Goldberg, the Combat Streaks. And it was another one was called Ringmaster by Top Flight. We had, like I said, there were a lot of big manufacturers. Of course, SIG was into it also. But it's a lot different today. It comes out of the box pretty well. You're just doing final assembly. And I kind of like this now. At first, I kind of like leery of this, but these planes do fly good. You know, and the nickname for them is foamies. And it's really hard to find kits these days. Now, those guys in the Flying Pilgrim, we have expert model airplane builders that, you know, they build things and you can buy the plans online. They do everything from scratch. They paint everything, details. We have, so I would call them master modelers in the Flying Pilgrims RC Club. If you saw our meet last year, the annual meet, there you'll meet some of the fellows there that do that. But anyways, they do first class stuff. This is kind of more final assembly and then go fly it. And I kind of like this now. I don't want to spend hours like spending 3 months building an airplane that's all over in 30 seconds so it hits the ground. So these are pretty stable too. Electronics is better now. You have less radio interference. They come on the box pretty well ready to go. It's got to do a few things and it should fly. So I'm going to go through, I'll read the directions, I'll bring it back and we'll put together. I'm not going to show you every little thing because these directions are really well done. I think they're written about, you can see how thick the book is. It's written about 5 different languages. These are sold worldwide, whereas Lionel Trains is mostly a U.S. product. But anyway, I'll go ahead and I'll go through the manual and I'll bring you back and you can kind of get a rough idea what's going on here, especially if you're a train guy. All right, we're on page 5 of the manual, and we're going to put the landing gear on. This is how with 4 machine bolts. I believe they're claiming they're 8 millimeters, but they show on here on the drawing the full scale thing. All you gotta do is lay your bolt on there. It should match up. Right, here's a little brass washer, got a little indentation on it. This is gonna go into here, into the spring of the landing gear. And a little tricky, but we'll get it. That goes there. Then I have my screw here ready. Hopefully, I wish I had a third hand. I have it on my magnetic screwdriver. Hopefully we can get this to spin around without it coming apart. And so far, so good. It's just, there it is, you got it. And now I'll get it into the nylon of the fuselage and it's going in. It's something you want a tight fit on. This is going to take a lot of abuse of that spring flying around. I'll have to repeat this process on both sides, but you got the idea. Here's the other brass one here. And I want to get a little driver, a little bigger handle on it. All right, I got a screwdriver Phillips with a little bigger handle to get a better grip on this, because this really has to go in to the nylon part of the landing gear. And make sure that goes in the center of that spring system, and it is. Okay, good and tight. Looks like it's going to hold up. Let's move on. All right, I put a beach towel on my work table there so I get the wings cuffed up. This is the wing spar. It's carbon fiber. We got to get this thing in. Let me take it around this way, get a little better angle on it. And that one's all the way in. Hopefully this side goes in just as smoothly. There it is. There's our 2 halves together. The next thing is, this thing goes on to keep the wings together. And this will get bolted to the fuselage. And it goes this way. There, like that. And these are going to go through and into the fuselage. So we're putting the fuselage back out. Also got to get these slats on. These things are labeled right on this side, and then this one's labeled with an L for left on this side. So let's bring the fuselage back and put the wing on. All right, the wing is upside down on the fuselage. We have to plug in these wires. And of course, they are marked tight fit. This is once again one of these deals where you could use a third hand. That one's in. And this one's in. Okay, looking good. All right, I got the wing on. I make sure all the wires are tucked in correctly, and just lower these nylon bolts. Hopefully this draws down the wing to be a better fit to the fuselage. And kind of work them back and forth to bring it down evenly. Make sure it's snugged up pretty good. Feels level there. The wires are all tucked in nicely. Nothing's caught under the wing. Okay, I think we got it. Kind of neat. We got a little beacon light here, and of course there's 2 headlights in the front of the aircraft. Landing lights. All right. Okay, we got the slats on. I did the dry fit. I'm just going to pop these off. And then I have 2 types of glue here. This first one is regular CA. It's a gap filler. And this other one's a CA designed for foam, so it won't dissolve the foam. So we're going to go ahead and use the CA glue here for foam. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll put some drops of glue along here. Push this all in place, and I'll bring it back as soon as I got both sides glued up. So let's glue it. All right, we're over on page 8 of the manual. I'm going to go ahead and install both stabilizer halves here. This is the metal spars. I'm going to go ahead and just put this together for you, then I'll bring it back. It's also held together with 2 self-tapping screws, and they are here someplace in a little bag. Let me get those. And all these parts match the drawings on the manual to scale, full scale. All right, we got to lift up on this clevis here. This is going to come off. Set that aside. And let's go ahead and plug this in. And when you do this, because if you don't want to force it, you got to force something, you're doing something wrong. So everything goes gently. That one's in. Now we'll get the metal spar and put that through. And you also want to check and make sure this is in the right spot. And put the other side on. And once again, this goes really gently. Okay. And then we'll get the self-tapping screws out, which are in this little bag. I'll put the self-tapping screws in. I'll go back and I'll hook up this clevis here. Gotta check the manual to see what hole they want in. There's several to pick from here. So yeah, that takes care of the elevator. Hopefully this rudder is going to go back to neutral when we get it fired up. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take the Phillips screwdriver here and bring home these self-tapping screws for the elevator or stabilizer. The last thing to go on is this keeper. The manual says put this on here. You probably can't see it too well. Maybe I can tilt the plane a little bit. This here is the push rod for the elevator. Goes in the bottom hole. They'll put this little clip back on. It's called a keeper. All right, I got that keeper on the elevator push rod here. Make sure that snaps into place. If that was to come off in flight, would really not be good. You'd definitely have a crash. All right, let's bring this around. Timber Evolution is now basically put together. You notice I kept the propeller off. You know, the manual, they tell you can put the propeller on. I don't like doing that. Not until after the radio's been installed and everything checks out, then I'll put that on. I don't want nothing going wrong during the bind and fly process or bind and flight process of the transmitter where the engine would accidentally start. And that can be extremely dangerous. So I keep the propeller off until everything checks off. In fact, I almost wait till I'm outside. All right, let's take a little break here. When I come back, we'll do the bind and fly procedures with the transmitter. We'll be using a Spektrum NX8 Plus radio for the setup and for the bind and fly procedures. All right, we're on page 7 of the manual. Over here it shows 4 different ways to set up the radio for the bind process. I'm going to use up here, it says the upper right hand corner, it says using the bind plug. The aircraft comes with this bind plug. We'll be using that for the binding procedures. I'm going to be using a 4000 4S 18.8 volt battery, and the battery goes in the aircraft here. There are some straps that hold it down. I'll get this battery in here, and the strap's going to go around the battery. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and turn the transmitter on. All right, first thing we got to do is we got to go to the system setup. So we'll press the scroll wheel here. And we'll go to system setup. All right, there it says system setup. Push down the scroll wheel. Next question is, do we want to confirm this? And the answer is going to be yes. So hit yes on this. Then we got to go to model select. So go down here, look for, there's model select, the very first one. Model select. We'll push that. Then we're going to add, it says go to add a new bind and fly, which would be right here. Add new BNF. Add a new bind and fly. So we'll push the scroll wheel down. And this is an E-flite model. There's different manufacturers of airplanes here. This happens to be an E-flite. So push on the E-flite. Now I got to go through here and look for our Pacific airplane. There's a big list of them here. Here's all the airplanes that this radio will work with. There's quite a few of them. And we're looking for the Turbo Timber. So go down to the T's. And now there's a couple of Turbo Timbers. Gotta make sure you get the right one. Here they're showing 2 Turbo Timbers. I'm sure it's this first one. Bind and fly, and then I'm not too sure what the second one is, but it's showing 2 of them. We'll take our chances and go for the first one. So we wanted bind and fly. So we're gonna hit the bind and fly one on this. Then we want, the next question is, do we want to import this information? The answer is yes. So we want to import this to our transmitter. Now it's transferring that data. And you gotta wait till this process is done. Once this is done, then we're gonna go ahead and turn the transmitter off and then go back to the aircraft. So we turn this off. Now back to the transmitter, back to the aircraft. All right, at this point, make sure your throttle's all the way off. This would be full throttle, and all the way to off for the throttle with that off. And the next thing we gotta do is we're gonna get the bind plug here. This comes in with the airplane in that bag of parts. And over here is a wire that says you plug the bind plug into this. I'll make sure I got the right setup here. I think I only can go in one way. That's the wrong way, it's spinning around. There it is. Like I said, in the aircraft, it's labeled here that this is your bind plug. And of course, we're going to follow the procedures as it says in the manual. So we plug in the bind plug, leaving this thing plugged in. Then we're going to go ahead and also, next step is we're going to plug in the battery. Here's our 2 battery wires. We're going to plug that in. And we're going to look inside, make sure the receiver is flashing. I can look down in the fuselage, I can see the receiver is flashing an orange light. Also, the strobe light here is flashing. So it's appear to be okay there. So we got the battery plugged in, strobe light is on, and the bind plug is in. Next thing we got to do is unplug the bind plug for SAFE Select. So while this is flashing and stuff, we're going to go ahead and unplug this. All right, the bind plug is now out. Okay, on the transmitter, we're going to hold down this bind button here on top of the transmitter. We're going to hold this down, and I'm going to turn it on at the same time until this binds this transmitter to the aircraft. So I'm pushing down the bind button. I'm going to push and hold this until it fires up. Keeping the bind button down. The transmitter says it's binding. And there's my double dance. It says it's configuring it right now. I'm going to wait a second here. Okay, it's now done. Configuration is done according to the transmitter. And on here is everything. Hopefully we got to work correctly. Let's just do some quick checking here. Let's check the elevator up. Up elevator, which is correct. Down elevator. All right, let's go ahead and try the rudder out. Left rudder is correct. Right rudder is correct. Okay. Ailerons. Right goes up, which is correct. Left goes down, so that's correct. Throttle, I really can't tell. I'll go ahead and start it. Let's have the throttle turned off. Let's see. Here's motor. Let me check my buttons here. I have a button there that says safe for the motor. Let's turn the motor back on and check that. So the motor is working. I'm not too sure it's spinning the correct way, but if it isn't, I can go inside and turn the servo around to spin the correct way. I think we've got it pretty well done. Now the flaps, notice the flaps are down. Let's see if I think on my last airplane, the D switch was the flap. Let's see if this works. The flaps are coming up. You'll notice the flaps are right here. Now, I might want to change that around. I think on my last airplane, I had I notice here there's partial flaps and then full flaps. This might be the way my last airplane was. So basically, they did a good job of this. I mean, everything seemed to check out. There's my up elevator. Looking back here, watch the up. And then once again, the rudder is on my left stick. Left is left, right is right. And of course, the ailerons are on this throttle or on this stick. And that's correct. So far, so good. All right, let's put the prop on. Start this piece here. Get that all the way down in. This goes on next. You can see there's like a little grooves here to hold the propeller in place. And on comes the three-bladed propeller. And then the nut, which is this is a 13 millimeter. That's on, and then the spinner goes on. When the spinner goes on, there's a little Phillips head screwdriver bolt that goes in here. Kind of hold that in place. Get the Phillips. Okay, it's getting a little snug. I don't want to strip this thing out. I'm just going to take it in until it stops, and then I'll take a look at it. All Right there it is. It's snugging up just a little bit past the snug point. And we got it. I'm going to mark the center of gravity on both sides of the fuselage by putting a little mark here. And we'll flip it over and I'll check the center of gravity. That says 60 millimeters on it, even though it's upside down to you. And 60 millimeters in inches is 2 3/8 inches. So you actually could measure this with a ruler from the leading edge back 2 3/8 of an inch. All right, let's check the center of gravity. We're looking underneath the wing here for those dots we made each side of the fuselage. Put one finger there on this dot, and one on this dot. And see how it looks when it flies. And the center of gravity is correct. When it's a little bit nose heavy. If it was tail heavy, you'd lose control surfaces in the back of the aircraft. Would definitely crash. So that's looking pretty good for the center of gravity. So that passes that test. So that pretty well wraps things up. Looking good. See you at the flying field. Hey, I'm Trainer Gary at the flying field. Today we're going to make a virgin flight, a maiden flight. There's my up. Here's my right aileron, left rudder, right rudder. Everything checks out. We're going to turn the motor on and take it out and do the maiden flight. Here we go. Okay, come a little closer, Dave. I'm asking the cameraman to come a little closer. Okay, I look up now. I gotta look. There's a real airplane going by. See if you get the real airplane going by. Can you get that or not? It's got possible. It's like a decent or something like that. Take airplanes. Not possible. It's like a decent or something like that. Take airplanes. Alright, let's do a takeoff. We're going to taxi out. Check the wing. It's a little bit breezy today, but we're going to go for it. It's my first turn on a new airplane. It's always a little concerning when you make your first. It's a pretty sharp bank turn there. We've got left to. Looks nice on the flybys, huh? Alright, we're bringing around cameraman. We're going to go for our first landing. And always think positive here. Get ready to flare out. There we go. Not bad. All right, well, cameraman, I think I got it. Looks pretty good. Let's go float flying with John and Gary. This is the diagram for installing the floats. Just follow the steps in the diagram, and you will be ready to go float flying. So let's do it. Hey, this is Trainer Gary. This is the maiden flight for this airplane. It's a Timber Turbo, I believe it is. I don't know how to pronounce that. First flight, we're at Aspen Oaks Park in Oakland County, Michigan. Oh, you mean the Let's give it some gas, stick it out. A bunch of them. A little bit of left. A little bit of right. Can I take off, guys? Go ahead. Okay, I'm taking off then.
see if we can teach it.
Well done.
Okay, we had a pretty good main flight.
Good morning. We're flying at Float Fly with the Romeo Skyhawks at Addison Oaks, View Lake, they said.
And your name is John, right?
Hakala from Clarkston, Michigan.
Okay, and what airplane you flying today, John?
This is a Turbo Timber. And I've had it about 6 years or so. It's got a lot of glue on it to hold it together, but it still flies.
All right, let's take it for a flight. Oh yeah, we came this far. We're gonna watch it fly.
Gotta get it out past the dock. Watch the wind. Wind's pretty calm right now. Good. Give it a little acceleration.
And John is up.
I'm going to go take a slow loop, or not a loop, but a
Fly by? Pass, okay. You got your full frame here, John.
This is my favorite airplane.
It's oh yeah, even loops with the floats on it. Cool.
Not that bad.
Hey, nice landing. Hey, this is Trainham Gary reporting from the Mackinac Bridge in Mackinac City, Michigan, saying thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Please check out these fine videos from my YouTube channel. And cheers to Detroit Mackinac Railway.